Cool. Alright. Let me get this camera set up going here. How's everybody doing tonight? Good evening. Fuck off. Go back to your own country. Isn't that the line? It's from a movie. Or a TV show. That I've never seen. I just know the TikTok sound. Anyway. What's going on? How are you tonight? What are you doing? What are you up to? I, myself, am working on this jelly cube. And I'm going for a 12 by 12 by 12. And for anyone watching, that's not 12 inches by 12 inches. It's 12 rows. And each row is comprised of 2 layers. And each layer grows exponentially as you increase its size. So one ring at a time. Actually, hang on. I just pulled this up. What is, by the time we're done, I should have 9,000 plus rings in this, if the Jelly Cube calculator is correct. So that'll be a good bit of work done. It's good size. It'll be about 4 inches by 4 inches on each side. Length, width, height. So it's a good sized Jelly Cube. The smaller one I've been working on that I made a video about the other day. Excuse me. This one. It's made of much smaller rings, like, to compare the two. This one is at 14 layers, and I believe I misspoke. This is almost 14 rows by 14 rows by 14 rows. And it has almost 15,000 rings in it. 14,700 some odd. And I said 16,000, so I was a bit off. And it will be, I want to make this a 20 by 20 by 20 row cube. So it will eventually have almost 48,000 rings in it, but we'll get there. I gotta order some more rings for it, and alright, I sent a bunch of people asked me what the ring sizes were for this cube here, right? And so I sent them to my supplier. So, Amanda, how you doing? The company I got them from is chain-reaction.ca, and they're the 18 gauge 1/8 bright aluminum rings for this cube. And I sent a bunch of people there, so I'm hoping they sold a bunch, and I hope that they have some when I go to order more. So, and I hope people order a bunch of rings and make a bunch of really cool cubes. Yeah. So I haven't done anything else today except work on this cube. This is, if you take a look at my TikTok videos, this is the one that was, I only had the length portion filled out, and I was complaining because I like to work on a cube. I didn't like the pillar I had made. You're doing fine? That's good to hear. So, it's finally large enough that I don't have that complaint of working on it anymore. The weight distribution isn't such a big deal, but that was my complaint. So I want to start a cube out, and I want to keep it a cube, and I work on 3 sides as I go along, expanding them out, as opposed to making the length and then building the height and then widening the whole thing out. I don't like that method. But some people said that that's how they've always done it. Some people also said that they build out like their base layer and then build the third layer and then connect the two layers. It's weird. That is a weird way to go about doing things. I don't know how they have room to do that, but all right. But yeah, got to get this done. I need to get this to a 12 by 12 by 12, and then I should have enough rings for maybe one more. Maybe one more 12 by 12 by 12 cube. And that will actually probably go up for sale. Astrid, how you doing? Can I make a tutorial on how to actually make a cube? I've been trying for a couple of days and you can't seem to get it. Okay. I don't do tutorials. You can contact me on any platform and I will give you as much help as I can. The issue is that when I teach people stuff, and this is chainmail, leatherwork, my day job, when I was in the military, all of that, right? Whenever I taught someone something, they quit. Okay, so I don't teach. I can point people in the right direction. But writing tutorials is something I've avoided largely because I don't feel like I am the right person to be doing that. You're exhausted. It was an amazing con, though. So, for anyone watching, Astrid in the comments over on TikTok was one of the creators who I was repeatedly tagging over the weekend as one of my videos went viral. I think it's at 560,000 views so far, and there's probably 100 or 150 comments asking where to get one, and she got tagged in a bunch of them. Wayward and Whimsical got tagged in a bunch of them, but Astrid came back from a long weekend at a con and had like 50 tags, and excuse me, all from me recommending people to seek her out for her craftiness. Okay, thanks for being honest. Yeah, absolutely. I was in the army. Yeah, that's an insane amount of views. I'm just gonna like use my jelly cubes until they stop getting views, I guess. I don't know why that one video popped off, but it did, and it was awesome. First time anything I've ever done has been seen by so many people. So it kind of feels like it feels like that is something that should happen fairly often. And occasionally I'll get, 20, 30,000 views on a little video, and it's always just like the most random video I make, right? It's never anything I plan out, and so I try to keep the planning to a minimum and just make videos. So if it seems like some of my videos are kind of random, that's why, right? I am just throwing stuff out there and seeing what sticks, because trying to come up with some kind of plan for a video, does not work for me. Try to figure out how long the cubes would take you today, tomorrow. There you go. Small ones don't take long. Like, once you get to, like, 9 by 9 by 9, that's when it starts taking a large amount of time for each side. That's all you can do on this app? Yeah. Throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. I've had a couple good live streams, bring in a bunch of curious people, and a couple of videos, do a couple thousand views, which is one of the reasons why I like TikTok at all, is because it is the only app where there seems to be any kind of organic growth. I can post all day long on any other platform and get nowhere, and that is what I have done for years. So I am not... I continue to post to other platforms, but this is the only one where anyone has seen, well, where a large amount of people have seen what I do. So I'm going to stick with it for now. And if they nix it, well, it is what it is. I could never be internet famous. It would all go to my head. And I would become an evil overlord. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't, but... Lives are how you get anything now. They push older videos if you were live too. Nice. I'm just glad to be back and working. I spent the last month sick, and then my computer was... I was doing some work on the computer to where I couldn't stream because I had my computer doing other things. And it ended up being a failed project. I was trying to render a large VegVizier. You don't know where you go if this app goes away? Yeah, me either. I was trying to render a large VegVizier from chainmail, right? It's a print design for like blankets and tapestries and stuff like that. And I don't have enough RAM in my computer to get it done, so I have maxed out the amount of RAM I can put into this computer, and because 3D modeling chainmail takes so much RAM from your computer, like it takes all of it for any small amount. I'm going to have to eventually invest in a larger computer to get it to get some of the larger images I want done. So, but I did get the design done. Now I just have to render it. But I was trying to render that in layers, couldn't get it. And by layers I mean like one section at a time. And it was taking 40 hours to do each one. So I was sick, then I finished up the VegVizier design, tried to render it, and that took me a couple days. So I'm just glad to be back live streaming and trying to get caught up on stuff that I was unable to do. You had some animation projects that took so long to render you almost missed deadlines for school? Yeah. I believe it. I knew that this was like the project. I pushed my computer to basically its limits. I know what it can do. And so that's why I was trying to break it up into layers. And it did not end up working in the long run, but it was fun to learn how to break images up into layers and try and render it that way. So the only other thing I could do would to be I could like render each layer as it is and then shift the image or shift the layers or shift what's on the layers and then cut and splice everything to put it all together. I'm using Blender for this one. That is something I should go live and do talks about, or and just show the 3D stuff that you can do. I know that there's, what is the other one? Unreal Engine. I've never used that one. Used Maya. I used there's one modeled after what do you call it? Pixar. They have an in-house 3-dimensional modeling program. And I don't remember what that... It's a knockoff of theirs. I don't remember what that one's called. And that worked for a while. Maya's okay. Unreal is good for big projects. I will have to check it out. I hate to go and learn another new program. ZBrush is good but expensive, yeah. So, and that's why Blender ended up being able to do everything that I needed it to do. Is it perfect? No. Does it have drawbacks? Sure. Are they big enough for me to complain about? No. I am still able to make. No, I just have a laptop. I'm still able to make large chainmail projects in 3D on the computer and then render them. So that's all I needed. All I need to be able to do, and it looks somewhat realistic, and I can put my designs on there. And yeah, Nomad Sculpt. It's really nice so far. I've never even heard of that. I'm sure that there are a lot of programs that are out there that can be used. If I go beyond, if I try to use 3D program or 3D modeling software for anything other than making chainmail with, I would quickly get lost. It's iPad only, yeah. I've never owned an iPad. No, that's not true. Well, I didn't own it. I had an iPad for work once. And an iPhone. And it convinced me that I never wanted to switch to Apple. I had, I'm a Windows PC and Samsung Android user and always have been. And when I got an iPhone and an iPad for work, it just made my job take so much longer getting used to learning those machines. Eventually I got it, but I was not a fan. No hate to anyone who prefers those. It's like I have a, what are they called? The little music devices. iPods. You got it from school. You only have iPad for drawing going forward. Like I got an iPod while I was in Iraq 100 years ago, and people always say, "Oh, Apple's built for to be intuitive," and I'm not built for. Apple doesn't build for people like me, I think is the end result of that. Got it from school. You only have an iPad for drawing going forward. One-time payment for Procreate and Dreams, and you can use them for everything you're doing right now. You hate it for everything else? That's fair. But that's good. A one-time payment for some software, and you can just go nuts. I like it when that happens. That's always good. What happened to the music? Car 54, where are you? It's thinking. Why is it thinking? Maybe it will come back. We'll have to check back again in a second. But yeah, whoever Apple intuitively builds stuff for, it's not for me. I stumble with those things terribly. But I am... Oh, that's not a good ring. But anyway. If you are someone who is interested in chainmail and you want to play around with 3D modeling, Blender, and you're a PC user, I think they have Blender for Windows. I don't know. You just got your scale order from Draconic Wares, and are they pretty? Right on. Yeah, people coming up with scales There's a bunch of new scale manufacturers out there I've never tried. I'm not a fan of scales. I have some. I tried weaving some a long, long time ago, and I am not a fan. Had I used regular butted rings with them, I may, have a different story. But I used split rings with them. Split rings are like key rings, and you have a fancy little key ring opener hook thing to weave the rings into the scales, and it took way too long. It did not work out well. So I think that if I just use butted rings on the scales, I would like them more, but as it stands right now, I've got 2 boxes full of scales that I need to put together, and the split rings to put them together. And they're sitting over there on the floor, waiting to be assembled, and I will get to it eventually. So I don't think, but I bought kits from the Ring Lord for shirts, right? And I don't think I'm going to end up making shirts out of them. I think I'm going to make some pauldrons and add them to the chainmail shirts I have when I do the whole take my shirts apart, add a lining, add pockets, add trim, add fur collar, right? So I think when I do that, I'm going to add some scale pauldrons, which are shoulder pieces. They're definitely easier with butted rings, yeah. And I'm gonna say that the split rings that I have for them aren't exactly like high quality, right? So what happens is the split rings that I have, when you open them up to weave them into the scales, they would stay open slightly. So that was one of the frustrating things that I just put the project down and didn't work on it for a long time. It is one of my basement projects, though, to finish this year. Actually, I don't know if I will get to them this year. We'll see. If I neglect my family and friends and my dogs and don't do anything but sit in this chair, I could probably get it done this year. But I have responsibilities. Not many. Mostly just making sure the dogs go out and the kid gets dropped off and picked up from school. But I do have to at least make sure that they are done and that everyone is fed. Those are important things. They are. So I am at, it's, what are we at here? 10 by 9 by 12 right now. And I'm trying to get to 10 by 10 by 12. I probably won't get there tonight. But I've been working on this all day. From, I think last night I stopped at 7 by 7 by 12. So I've got row 8, 9, and working on 10 done. That was a lot of work. But I need to get this done. And then I need to get back to work on my saddlebag covers, and I need to stop throwing stuff. Because it was 64 degrees today, and everyone was out riding their motorcycle, and I've got my saddlebags down here in the basement that need to be finished. And so need to finish those up so I can go out and ride. And I got my not my sticker, my registration paperwork for my bike. So I gotta send that in so I can get my sticker for my license plate. And then the gas tank bib for the motorcycle and the wrapping the toolkit, those all don't require me to have my bike in pieces, so I can do those and still have the bike ready to go ride whenever. I do need to find something to lock my saddlebags into place. So the saddlebags connect to the bike on the inside, but all the closures on the outside are just some buckles, right? So if I park the bike and walk away, anybody can come up, open up the saddlebags, twist the clips, and off comes the saddlebag from the bike, right? Well, I just spent like 100 hours putting chainmail on the top of my saddlebags, so I need to find something that connects to the bike and locks them into place. And I don't know what that looks like or what that is. I'm going to talk to some people and see if I can find a solution. Because the last thing I want is to take my bike out for a ride, park it somewhere, and come back and have these saddlebags that I worked so hard on gone. So got to find a way to lock them into place. But I do have one saddlebag covered, ready to go. Just got to do the other one now. I think I'll probably have this cube finished up, depending on how many hours I can put into it tomorrow. I'll probably have this finished up tomorrow. So, what's tomorrow? Tuesday? I will get back to the saddlebag cover later this week, and then it amuses me because I started the saddlebag project at the beginning of Christmas break in 2023. I thought, oh yeah, I've already got the chainmail made for this. I'll have this done in a couple of days. No. Here we are 3 months later. And there was some trial and error and getting things figured out, and don't run away. Where'd it go? That ring disappeared. Thankfully, we have more. Alright, encourage your viewers to share your live and invite more friends. Okay. For anyone watching, please share the stream and invite your friends. I would greatly appreciate it. You can click the 3 buttons on the right hand side and just hit copy link. And then actually, I think tapping the screen to send hearts puts you puts people who are live streaming out on the For You page. Cube. All hail the mighty cube. This is more of a rectangle right now, but we're getting there. So if you tap the screen to add likes, that puts me out on the For You page for more people to show up and come hang out. All right. I wish that I could go back and look at comments made on live streams, because someone was asking a month, maybe 6 weeks ago, about making armor for their horses. And I said that I am not skilled enough to do that. And it's not that I can't make armor or jewelry for a horse or something. It's that I don't know enough about horses to be comfortable doing that. Right? But I have a friend who just opened up their my equine chainmail page. I forget what it's called. But it's like Rogue Male's Horse Armor, something like that. From the people who run Rogue Male at the Bristol Renaissance Fair. They have opened up their services to horse people. The equine. Equestrian, yeah. They've opened up their services to the equestrians. Those are horse people, right? There's a 50-cent word right there. So, but I can't go back and the lives are not recorded on TikTok, which is where that comment came from. My recording that I'm doing on my computer that streams out to Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, that gets recorded. And I can look back through comments through there. But, you know, I push my stream out to all those platforms and 1 or 2 people show up. The most amount of people that ever come hang out is always on TikTok. So... and that's why I need to get to 10,000 followers so that I can use TikTok's software. So that I can use TikTok's live stream applications. Gotta have 10,000 followers, which I think is ridiculous, but whatever. What do I know? Just keep making videos until I get there. The last video that hit 560,000 views doubled my follower count. So that was awesome. I need like 3 more of those, please. Just going to make Jellycube content until I hit 10,000 followers. It's not a bad idea. Alright. Now, I've got my overhead camera, and it's right here. Okay? And I can hear it whirring. And that is really annoying. So, I want a new overhead camera that doesn't make sound. Do they make those? I don't know. The one I have is for... well, I bought it because of its zoom features, right? Like, instead of having to hold the cube up here to show all you guys, I can use the remote control and zoom in, which is cool. So, it's got a zoom feature, like 10x or something. And it serves my purposes for a cheap camera, but it's really for, like, watching someone on stage, right? That's what it said in the brochure. So, but it's got a high-pitched whirring noise coming out of it. And it's one of those sounds that when you notice it, like, it doesn't go away after that. You can hear it all the time. So, lots of work to do this year. Hopefully I can live stream most of it, some of it. Just to, if and only if, you know, or no, because, how to say this, because and only because I want to, like, the primary reason why I do this is because I want to show people that you can make this stuff at home, right, without much fancy equipment. You can certainly get fancier, but the basics. You know, get yourself some rings. Whether you make them or whether you buy them doesn't matter. Whether you start out with a kit or you order yourself some rings doesn't matter. But when I was a wee lad, my uncle was making some, and I was in the midst of discovering and or reading fantasy novels suitable for my age at that time. And I have been doing this ever since then. And I've gotten to the point where, you know, I've made some really cool stuff and I want to show other people that. So that is the primary reason why I stream. The other reason is because also I run a business, you know, that is in, you know, I design and sell chainmail 3D or chainmail. I design and sell chainmail themed clothing and accessories, right? And so that's if you go to my website, which is myusername.com, that's what you'll find is chainmail themed print apparel and accessories. Like, for example, I have one right here. This hooded blanket, right? Super warm. Ridiculously warm, almost too warm. And of course I make and sell some chainmail. So that is also a reason why I stream, but it is primarily just to say, hey, do you need another hobby? Of course you do. You should pick up chainmail. So once you start, you won't have enough money for drugs. At least that's what I tell myself. I've seen a few people, or met a few people who were like, yeah, I saw you doing it, and I was like, I could do that too, and now I do it a lot now as well, which always warms the heart. And that's why I built the Mailworks app. So if you're watching right now and you want to learn how to make chainmail and make just cool random stuff out of metal, in my link tree is the Mailworks app. It's on Google and Apple, and it's free, and it's for anyone who wants to get started. It's got a bunch of resources in there. I've got a few more resources I need to add. And it's all the resources I would have wanted when I first got started making chainmail, right? Who are these people to invite? Amanda G. Blunder, I don't know who that is. Handmade Millennial. I don't know who that is either, but that sounds cool. Handmade Millennial, that's a good username. Streams where we have other people on. I think I'm going to reserve those for like Fridays. That is my goal. So this Friday, we should get a group of people together and stream. That was something I was meaning to implement. It's actually something I've been wanting to do for quite a while. Get a bunch of people together and stream and have a conversation. I've just never been able to implement it on the setup that I have, right? It would have to be a TikTok only thing. And I was meaning to do that, but then I got sick, and then I wasn't streaming for a couple weeks, but I need to stay in the habit of coming on here and streaming and getting a little bit of work done every night. Okay. Am I gonna sneeze or not? Got one of those, like, it wants to, but... And I think that if you see me streaming with a bunch of other people on Fridays, they're probably all really cool people and people I know and people that I'm willing to say, hey, I can't make that, but this person can. Perhaps. I did have plans to... I wanted to do one-on-one interviews with people. You know, hey, how you doing? How'd you get started in whatever hobby it is that you're doing? What's your favorite conspiracy theory? You know, really get to know these crafters. But I never... Like, it would just be off the cuff. It would largely just be like off the cuff. I would have to be the interviewer, which is a lot of responsibility because, like, none of this comes naturally to me, talking on the computer or talking to, you know, people on the internet. I'm very introverted. I can sit down here in my basement and listen to music in silence all day long every day, right? What layer am I on? Right now, this is 9 by 10 by 12. This odd rectangular shape thing. We're trying to get to 10 by 10 by 12. Or I'm sorry, we're trying to get to 12 by 12 by 12. So 2 more rows on one side, 3 more rows on another. Yeah, so being the interviewer would be a lot of responsibility for me because I am bad at talking with people. It may appear as if some of this comes naturally, right? And that I am generally amusing and fun to watch. But let me assure you that it is practiced and just a decision not to stop doing it that has allowed me to become better at it over time. So if I were to, you know, set up a show where I was interviewing crafters and hobbyists one-on-one, right? That was one of the drawbacks, is that it would be off the cuff. I would have to be the interviewer. It would be best if I hired an editor to go through and, like, pre-record the internet first instead of pre-record the interview first instead of trying to do it live. So I don't know. Maybe one day I will just hang out with people one-on-one, like once a week or something, or once a month, and we can chat and learn about how they got into their hobby and learn about them. And I think that would be fun. I just have to implement it. Start doing it, get a guest list, ask people to come on, blah, blah, blah. Because I think that, I don't know, as someone who makes stuff with their hands, I find when I discover other people who make stuff with their hands that they are usually really cool people and the skill is really cool. There's some, I forget what their name is, on TikTok. They make spindles, right? For spinning yarn, something like that. And they have a whole process set up where they make these spindles, and I thought that was really cool. It's like, that's got to be a really cool backstory in how you got into hand making spindles. You know, it's pretty niche. I think I don't know. There's not a lot of people who make chainmail. I think that people who use a spindle is probably even less. You know what I mean? So I think that things are more fun to do live when they're off the cuff and just random. Because anything can happen. As opposed to a curated, cut and clipped episode of an interview, you know? So, I don't know. Maybe I'll do it. I would like to. And I think another fun part about doing that, right, is crafters, hobbyists, people that hand make stuff, okay? Who's highlighting them? Who's putting the spotlight on them and saying, I want to know about you, right? I don't know. I've never seen a show like that, really. Like, I've seen YouTube interviews of people at a convention who make stuff. But I think that it is a underappreciated niche that I can exploit for likes and clicks. No, I'm just kidding. I think it is an underappreciated section of the population, and I think putting a light on them and giving them a little bit of airtime, I think they would like that. I think it would make them feel special. But what do I know? Would people watch it? Yeah, probably. People watch, like, Antiques Roadshow. And I'm not trying to knock Antiques Roadshow, but, like, the pacing of that show can be tough to watch. But it's exciting to find out that some piece of junk that's been hanging around your house for 100 years that you got from your great-great-grandma Ethel, you know, and it's worth $100 million. That's always fun. But the rest of the show is like the suspense leading up to it, asking the people where they got their stuff. It's just kind of, okay, let's move it on. Let's get to what's the value of the item, you know? I think that's why people watch, because they just get sucked in. So I think that if people can watch that, they would find a stream or a show talking to other artists and stuff. I think people would like that as well. So you get a little insight into how they got where they're going, what they're working on now, how they want to expand their craft, right? I think here's another reason I never started this project, was because, like, I have a very small amount of followers on every platform, right? I just surpassed the number of followers on TikTok than what I had on Facebook with this video that went viral on Friday. It almost doubled my followers, right? So I got like 30 people on YouTube, 10 on Twitch. I don't think I have any on Twitter or X. I have 2,000 on Facebook, and now I have 3,500 on TikTok, right? So I think that's another reason why I didn't implement it, is because I would go like, hey, would you like to be interviewed by me for, 30 minutes or whatever? And you can tell me all about your hobby. They'd be like, yeah, but who are you? And they'd see my follower count and be like, oh, you're nobody. No thanks. But I'll get there. Asking for a friend. How you doing? Don't I expand the craft one ring at a time? Yeah. Sam, I am. How you doing? Yeah, working on a cube. This is a payment for some rings. But yeah. So that is my other concern, right? It's not finding people to interview. I'm sure I could do that all day long. It's just that I'd be like, hey, would you like to be interviewed? And they would go, no. But it would be fun. That and streaming with a bunch of people, that sounds fun too. So. Do you want me to... Is this what you want? You want some Jelly Cube action over there? If I just do this, will I get to like 10,000 followers? You love my work? Thank you. It's a work in progress. Good. Saw the mechanic today. You saw a mechanic today? That's awful. I'm sorry. The last time I saw a mechanic, I had to donate one of my children. Or not donate, sell. Now I only have my one son left. I'm just kidding. My brother-in-law is my mechanic, so it was expensive though. Timing chain. Had a loose timing chain. It was $3,500 to fix. $3,300, something like that. It was essentially my tax return. That I haven't filed my taxes yet, so when I get it, I'll pay my credit card back. My son is supposed to be in bed. I think he's still up. We sold over 3,000 Girl Scout cookies this season. You're tired? Yeah, I'll bet. Right on. Congratulations. Now, I'm assuming that's 3,000 boxes of Girl Scout cookies, Mike. Not, like, that would be, I'm assuming it's well over $3,000 in Girl Scout cookies. How many Girl Scout cookies can you get for $3,000? Like a dozen boxes? Where am I at here? Yeah, I needed a windshield put on your car. Old as dirt car model. Oh, Model T Ford. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, boxes. Okay. Yep. Model T Ford, huh? Right on. So, for a Model T Ford, for a windshield, that should be square glass. Like, it's straight glass. It's a pane. It's not curved, right? So, for a windshield, shouldn't be terrible. At $5 to $6 a box, and depend on the cookie, you get like 12 to 24 cookies. There you go. I assume that they have Girl Scouts here in Wisconsin, but I don't see any. When the car came out, windshields were an option. Right on. Back when men were men. We don't need no windshield. So for a Model T Ford, what kind of mechanic do you take it to? I'm assuming that, like for a windshield, what is that chip repair company? They'll like come out to your house and replace your windshield. I'm assuming that that's out of troops get 81 cents per box sold for troop funds to use app for enrichment of the troop with activities and such. Oh, right on. Yeah, I'm sure if we have Girl Scout troops in the area, I'm sure we do. That they're all down at like the college dorms, just hanging out there selling them. Because I say I don't see Girl Scouts anywhere where I'm at, and I don't go out very often, right? But also they could be there, just not near me. Elite Auto Glass, yeah, something like that. Something like that where you can just get a windshield replaced in a single day. Or Safelite. Safelite repair, Safelite replace. That one, right? I've had them come out and replace my windshield. Here, so I had a chip in my windshield that turned into a crack. I didn't think much of it, didn't worry about it, but then I had to make a, not cross-country trip, but a trip a quarter of the way across the country from Wisconsin to Idaho, right? And I was like, let me get my windshield replaced before I go on this trip, because I don't want that glass breaking while I'm driving at 80 to 100 miles an hour down the highway, sometimes 110. So I got the windshield replaced, and then on the trip there and back, I got one chip on the way there and then one chip on the way back. It was awesome. I was like, yay, go me for fixing it before the trip and not waiting till after. But at least the windshield didn't come in and crush me. So, it is what it is. Alright, you take it to Ford because it's their car. Interesting. That is interesting. How old is your Model T? It's going to be nearing 100 years old, isn't it? Where are we at here? Model T flooring. Flooring it is 55 miles an hour, yeah. Yep. Which, like, that sounds slow, but with no windshield, you know what I mean? Oh, it's 116 years old, bought by your grandpa. That's awesome, dude. Or, I don't... That is awesome, asking for a friend. I don't know how many rings I've added today, but it's been a lot. I'm surprised that... I'm sure my wrists and elbows and my body will hurt tomorrow morning. Nothing a little ibuprofen can't fix, but... I literally got started doing this at 9 this morning after I dropped my kid off at school. I stopped for lunch. I stopped for, to pick my kid up. I stopped for dinner. I've been back down here the whole rest of the night. And it's not like I have until, I think this is supposed to be a Christmas present. I don't know. So I have until like December to finish it, but I want to make sure that I get it done and get it sent back sooner rather than later. I don't want it hanging over my head. The funny part is, if you don't have seatbelts, you can't get pulled over for not wearing it. Nice. Why aren't you buckled up? Well, because this car doesn't have them. Because if you retrofit a 116-year-old car with seatbelts, right, I assume that is not good for the value, for starters. And also, like, it would just not match at all the aesthetic. And they probably figure, you know, hey, 55 miles an hour, if you flip this thing, you know, you'll be all right. You can walk away from that one. Do you wear goggles and a helmet when you drive it? You lose the vintage plates if you retrofit it with seatbelts. That makes sense. All right. Right on. Cars are one of those things, like, I would like to own a fancy car one day. But I want a older Bronco or an International Scout 2, right? That's the kind of old vehicle I would get. And I would retro mod the crap out of it. The other car won't be fine, but you will? Yeah. And there are people who do that. They retro mod International Scouts specifically, which, awesome. It's just expensive. And then, of course, a bunch of people do Broncos, so that goes without saying. And those are the only two vehicles, older vehicles, that I've wanted. Not a big... I enjoy looking at muscle cars and stuff, and older, earlier first-gen cars and stuff like that. But, you know, big, boxy, ugly SUVs from the 70s. So I've had two Internationals at this point. First one I was drivable, second one was not. I don't know, they've just always been what I've enjoyed, and they're just big, ugly vehicles. I almost got my hands on a pretty completely rebuilt 1978 K5 Chevy Blazer. Yeah. And I should have, it was only $5,000 at the time. New paint, bunch of engine work done, bunch of parts upgraded, decent sound system. I should have gone and worked my ass off to get that vehicle. Knowing what I know now about anything, which is not much, but it was only $5,000. I could have made that kind of money. You know, I was an adult at the time. And it would have gotten me out of the, what was I driving? I was driving a 92 three-cylinder Geo Metro at the time. That was my second car. That was back when we used to install stereo systems in those. Those are fun. Putting two 12-inch subwoofers in the back of a three-cylinder Geo Metro is about the most ridiculous thing you can do to those cars. So much fun growing up in rural Idaho. And that was the closest I've come to owning a decent big boxy SUV. Like I said, I had two International Scout 2s. The first one ran, but it was not in good condition. And the goal was for me to fix it up, but that I didn't have the skill, the know-how, the time, or the money to do that, so. Same with the second one. I bought the second one thinking, oh yeah, I'll get it running, no problem. Yeah, no. Now, different story. Right? I have a backyard, I can throw it in, put it up on blocks, tear the engine out. My neighbor worked for American Motor Company. He's a retired engineer out of there, so he knows all about engines and stuff if I need immediate help. And then my brother-in-law is also a mechanic, so call him and annoy him. I could do it now, but... Alright. We are at 9 by 10 by 12 in this thing. So now we need to make... need to add 2 layers to this side. So we've got 3 layers, or no, 3 rows on this side and 2 on this side, and we'll be at 12 by 12 by 12. So I'm hoping I will be done with this tomorrow. But for now, we'll just keep working on it. I'm not going to get done tonight. It does. It's almost 4 inches by 4 inches by 4 inches. Right. It's like 1/8 of an inch shy. So I think these are 16 gauge 11/64 rings that I'm using for this. I think is the closest measurement. The actual measurement is 16 gauge 0.170, which is just shy of 11/64s. It's just a smidge smaller. Rachel, thank you. Excuse me. Why am I starting to cough now? Probably because I'm talking. My point was that at 12 rows tall, right, it's larger than this other cube I've been working on, right? So if you want a large cube, this is a decent size to make a large cube out of and not have to weave, I don't know, 14,000 rings on this one. This one's only going to be 10,000. Excuse me. All right, come on. There we go. So, oh my goodness. Yeah, just talking too much. Making me want to cough. But I'll be alright. I usually... Oh, man. Okay. That was a weird sound I made. I usually only stream until about 10 o'clock. Sometimes on weekends I go a little longer, so... I'll be fine talking for another 20 minutes and working on this. Getting a lot of work done, so I'm happy about that. I need another day or so to finish this up, and then all right, come on. So I'm gonna finish this cube, and then I'm gonna finish the saddlebags, and then I don't know what exactly I'm gonna work on after that, but it'll be something. I've got a whole pile of crap to work through, so some of it's, I think I mentioned this last night, some of it's projects that I want to redo because they need some more attention. It's like they were finished, but not really. Like, I can redo them better now. Some are piles of rings of projects that I want to make. And some, like the saddlebag covers, that was actually a shirt that I was working on. And when I went to order more rings for it, the blackening process was like incomplete. And I sent those rings back, and they've changed up how they size their rings since then. And so even if they had the blackened stainless rings in stock that I needed, right, the size would be different. So I was like, all right, let me not make a shirt out of this and turn it into saddlebag covers and a gas tank bib for my motorcycle, and let me put it on my toolkit, and we'll go from there. So there's projects like that as well. So plenty of stuff to choose from, as well as projects that I actually have some of these bracelets, right? This style. Let me show you. Some of these. Let me flip that over. To make. I've got 20 of these to make, so that is actually what I should work on after I finish the saddlebags. Knock these out. I did have someone contact me for a bracelet, and they picked one out. I sent them a bunch of pictures, but they haven't gotten back to me yet, so that happens a lot. A lot of interest. And don't get me wrong, I sell plenty of stuff, but a lot of people get them all the information they need, and when it's time for payment, it's like they're ghosts. It is what it is, you know, part of the business. Convincing people to buy your stuff is not my strong suit. So I try. I do try. Like, I thought it was awesome that so many people were interested in buying my Jelly Cube. Right? Only one person laughed at the price I quoted them at. Okay, this cube right here with 14,000 rings in it, which has taken me somewhere between probably 80 to 100 hours at this point. I would put a price tag of $2,000 on it. And when I get it to the 20 by 20 by 20 that I want, I would put a price of $10,000 on it. Right? And something like this, someone's going to pick up and go, yeah, okay. Right? It would take a really long time for that person to show up and stumble across this. And so for that reason, like, I don't see any point in selling it. I'm just going to keep it at my bar and use it as a conversation piece. But only one person laughed when I said $2,000. It's like, no, I'm serious, man. Like, it's an intense amount of work so far. So that's why you stop trying to get commissions. Spend a week working details, materials, weave, to have them slide that info to a friend that will make it for less. Yeah. At 20 by 20 by 20, charge per minute to play with it. Yeah. That's funny. Just like set up a booth for it and travel around with a carnival or a circus and like $1 to play with a giant jelly cube. $1 to play with moderately sized jelly cube. Yeah, like pony rides, exactly. That's funny. How do you make your living? Oh, I let people fondle my cube. All right. Oh, and at a price of $10,000, right? Like I said, I would absolutely expect something like this to sell. It would just take a really long time for it to sell for that amount, right? Does the cube slinky roll down the stairs at its current size? I don't think so. Maybe. It might. I've never tried it. Wow. Come on. There we go. When it comes to high-end anything, right? High-priced things. I think that a lot of people who hand make stuff are afraid to price their items at high levels because they don't think they'll sell. And it's true, right? Like, if you are running a booth or something, it's good to have a large variety of prices for your items, right? Like, I had some bracelets that were, I think I charged $5 for them. They didn't take very long to make, like 20 minutes. Excuse me. And they were, what do you call them? EPDM, which is like a rubber. So I had rubber rings and anodized aluminum rings. So half the work was already done. I just had to weave the anodized aluminum rings into these little half Persian 4-in-1 bracelets. And I'd make them like 7-8 inches and charge $5 for them. And those were by far the best selling item at my last booth, right? But I also had a plethora of other higher end things sell. Last time I did a booth, which was years ago. May need to match step height to cube size, maybe. I think it It would definitely slinky roll down the stairs if it was the same size as the stairs, but what are stairs? 11 inches? How many rings would be in just a 10-inch cube, right? If I take this out to 5 inches and it's got 48,000 rings in it, right? To double it to 10, so that's 48 times 8. So, no, 48, 96, 144, 192. That's 384,000 rings for a 10-inch by 10-inch cube. I think is the math on that. I could be wrong, but cubes get very they use up a lot of rings, put it that way. So materials are expensive, they're time consuming to make. So, but a cube that was the same size as a stair on a set of stairs, that would be a lot of rings. All right. Nope. But I will have to see if this little cube slinkies down the stairs. I mean, I'm sure you give it enough speed, it will, but just bowl it down the stairs. All right. Okay, so finish this cube, finish the saddlebags, make the 20 bracelets with the shackle clasps, and then I can delve into the rest of the pile of stuff that I have over there. But I think that's going to be my next couple of projects. So, and once I'm done with the bracelets, we can get back to things like the Finnegan's Wake flag and other fun stuff. But for right now, it's like I was with that video going viral the other day. I had a bunch of requests for, cubes, and I was sending people to a couple of other chainmail artists, and one of them I had remembered to contact, and the other one just got back from a con on Monday and was exhausted from working all weekend, to like 50 messages from me where I had tagged her, directing people to her for custom requests. So hopefully she sells some. I am not set up to take custom requests for cubes right now. One day. I thought one of the things that was funny was how many people were like, "Oh, it's an armored gelatinous blob. It's immune to slash damage." Right? Just how many Dungeons and Dragons nerds that popped up, all mentioning gelatinous cubes. It's like there seems to be a theme here. So, where are we at here? Let me finish off this row and then for anyone watching. My name's Sean. I run mailworks.com, where I design and sell chainmail themed apparel and accessories. Right? I'm going to leave that right there. Things like this hooded blanket. It's got a big jelly cube on it. I don't know how much you can see, but the purple and blue and pink is the jelly cube, and then it's got some chainmail in the background, right? It's got a hood. It's got a, I think it's called a Sherpa lining on the interior. Super warm. Like if you're cold, put that on, warm up in like 5 minutes. You can find stuff like that on my website, mailworks.com. If you are interested in learning how to make chainmail, the first stop would be the Linktree in my bio. There are links to the Mailworks app, which is available on Apple and Google, and it's free to anyone. In there you will find a bunch of resources for tutorials, where to find ring manufacturers, where to find groups of people who make chainmail, and a whole bunch of other stuff. It's basically all the information I wish I would have had when I first got started. So please, if you're interested in learning more, go check out the Linktree in my bio, download the app. There's a comment area, so pop in there, say hi. If you are specifically looking for how to make cubes, you can... The only tutorial that I know of is in the files section of the Chainmail group, or the group Chainmail on Facebook. So check it out there. For everyone else, where are we at here? All right, we were at like 7 by 7 by 12 last night, and now we're at 9 by 10 by 12, so almost done. We're getting there. Super fun. It's going to be a good size cube. Right? But we'll get there. I do appreciate everyone hanging out. It is 10 o'clock. I am going to get going. Please check out my website. That when you order from my website, you help me continue to spread the good word of chainmail throughout the world. So please go check it out. Order yourself something nice, or a loved one something nice. And if you know someone who likes Ren fairs, who likes dice games, like tabletop RPGs, whatever, right? They would love a hooded blanket. So, how's the hour rate compared to the last one? Half or 2/3 the time this go around? The hour rate of rings per hour. That's about the same. I average 200 to 300 rings an hour. Just depends. Is that what you're asking, John? Hit me up. I gotta end this. So, you wonderful people, thanks for hanging out. You're beautiful. I love you. Appreciate you being here. Check out the app in my Linktree. Check out my store, and I will be back on tomorrow night, later on this week. Don't know when for sure, but we're gonna try and get back into a routine of streaming every night and getting projects done. I will talk to you all soon. You all have a wonderful evening. Bye. As for everyone else, thank you for hanging out. I appreciate you being here. I love you all too. You all